Today, you are going to meet 5 distinguished alumni who are not only excellent people, but they are former MPHS students who left here with a passion to change the world. As you will learn about our winners today, match them up with your 4 foundations of the Mustang Nation. Number 1, just be here. Get involved. Number 2, excellence in the arena. 3, service above self. And 4, champions in life. He learned it was all right to be his creative self, and in fact, even a positive thing.
I think the thing that allowed Mount Vernon to prepare me for my life was they didn't teach to the book or to the test. They taught really interesting problem solving skills. And I think that's what set Mount Vernon apart from a lot of other schools.
Mount Vernon prepared me for my life after high school, I think by just the example that people were for in the way that they served, the volunteers that just kind of permeate everything in this community. So teachers themselves going beyond what's required of them in the classroom, but also parents and other people in the community giving of themselves and allowing us to do all the things that make being a student here great. All the activities and things that are run by the school really aren't possible without that kind of volunteer support. Someone who puts service above self, I think, is someone who's very close to me. It's my dad. I grew up seeing him serve the community in lots of ways, and so I really learned that from him.
There's a lot of things, I think, in the end that I reflect upon what prepared me for my life in Mount Vernon, and one of them is just having the freedom in this community to roam around as a kid and to do things in a very creative way. Both in school and out of school during summer, the community offered me a lot of great options just to grow and learn. Having the library up at Cornell was always a resource for me. Running around with my friends out on the farm was another kind of great way just to get fresh air. For me, the school environment, the culture of Mount Vernon community all provided the foundations for my later choices. And so my feeling is quite strongly that the school gave me all the right abilities and foundations to make the choices I did in my life.
I think for me personally, I didn't have a lot of confidence. I was a country kid, came into town, and I wouldn't say I stood out in any classroom. And it was kind of like when sports started, there was something I could excel in. And I was an average student, but then as I was in sports more, it was like more people knew me, more teachers knew about me, they interacted with me and encouraged me and said, you're actually pretty smart, which is funny to say that you don't know yourself how smart you are. But they encouraged me to take, higher level courses, and, I went up to being on the honor roll and everything. And so it was just a confidence builder.
Well, Mount Vernon prepared me for my life with giving me a good basis of my education. I was just an average student in high school, and I noticed that when I got to Kirkwood that I had better grades than most of the kids in the class. And I think it was just because of the basis that I got from teachers prepared me for what was about to come down the pike.
I worked at the Mount Vernon schools for 33 years, and I coached here for about 30 years, so I got to interact with the kids too. I worked in the central office, which isn't related so much to the students, but the coaching kept me connected. I worked like every sporting event. I kind of learned that volunteerism gives you a lot of pluses in life too, so you continue that on even when you're not working actively every day. And I go to my grandkids' events, so now I'm going to their sporting events because I did my kids for 20 years and now I'm starting the grandkid thing for 20 years.
I was fortunate enough to not get a job, but to get a passion, and so I don't have time off necessarily, which is a good thing. I've got a beautiful family, beautiful wife, and a great career that I'm very passionate about fulfilling.
I live in Cambridge, England. I help to run and manage a consulting firm there, doing communication work. We have about 50 people working for large global organizations, helping to train and kind of help their people communicate better. I have a family there and am involved in my local church and other community activities.
My life today, I think, is very busy with travel. So a lot of my work has to take me from where I live to where an event is occurring. So an event may be a natural disaster, a great flood, hurricane, or it may be a conflict. So a conflict that we see in Syria, in Yemen, South Sudan. So often I'll get on an airplane and I have to go to another location to see the team that I'm managing as they respond to that disaster, and then often to go to other world capitals to talk to people about that disaster. So a lot of my work ultimately ends up being on an airplane to go from A to B and being in that place for a few weeks and then coming home. So it's fairly stressful. And then when I'm home, I like to enjoy my time by just not thinking about getting on an airplane and being centered and have more time to meditate and just sort of be calm with things and get fresh air and exercise where I can.
My life today is incredible. I own a small business in the town I grew up in. I'm doing probably a dream job. I get up in the morning and go to work doing something that I like to do. I'm around my friends basically all day long. They come in for coffee in the morning, I call it adult daycare, and then they come back in the afternoon for pop flips. We flip for pops in the shoe department. So you can see I have a lot of camaraderie with friends from town. It's really an amazing life, and my wife and I enjoy music events throughout the community, and we live on Main Street. It's really cool to live on Main Street. So my life is really full.
I'm sure none of these people behind me that will be inducted today realized when they were in your position as students at Mount Vernon High School that someday they would be honored to be members of the Mount Vernon High School Alumni Hall of Fame.
Don't be afraid to fail. I mean, I've been teaching at the college level now for 20 years, and if there's one thing I've noticed is that not much gets learned from a success, but a whole lot gets learned from failure.
The first advice I have is volunteer. Tomorrow, go find something you want to volunteer in. You receive more than what you put into it. You'll grow as a person and you meet so many interesting people, but volunteering is something that I would recommend for each and every student from the Mount Vernon High School.
Advice I have for Mount Vernon students, I'd say take advantage of all that's being offered to you right now, all of that community support and those volunteers and all the activities that are at your disposal. Just soak that in. But also, as you do that, observe the people around you who are serving and learn from that as well, because when you go out into the world, you can take that kind of volunteer spirit wherever you are, whether it's back here in Mount Vernon or it's another community or in another part of the world.
You know, the best advice I can give students is don't be afraid of the future. A lot of people think about, well, what career do I need to take or what job ultimately will I come into? And I had those same anxieties. I wasn't sure I was taking the right courses in college. The best advice is just jump in. There can't be any bad mistakes really in what you do when you're so young. You just take another option. So you learn, you iterate, and then you move on and find another way to make that path forward. And ultimately, things just start to feel like they come into place.
The second thing I would recommend is pick the brains of people that have been through the wars. If you want to be a doctor, go talk to one of the local doctors. I know they'd make time for you on an interview and just be able to ask questions like, how much schooling does it take to do what you did? What can I expect to make? I think that would just be very helpful to each and every one of the students in Mount Vernon.
Enjoy your high school life too. I mean, besides the sports and the academics and all that, your friendships you make there, I still hang out with many of my high school friends. We have just a common ground, and it's a safety net. It's a good group to have, so have fun.
He was nominated for this award by your former high school teacher, Richard Scarce.
When I was here, it was like living in the land of giants. You know, Dick Peters and Jim Bellamy and Mr. Scarce, Ruth Michaud, they were all very engaged especially Ruth Michaud. Mrs. Michaud kind of confirmed to me that it was okay to be a creative person, and she just sort of planted that seed and kicked me out into the real world, and that's when it started to germinate and become real.
And Dick Peters, the person who nominated me, the first time he told me what an excellent report I'd written, that I really understood the American West, and I was like, I did? And so it was just, but he would tell me those things, and you just, it makes you feel good. You feel like, oh, I can do that. So
A teacher who had a big impact on me was Jolene Nelson. She was the choir teacher. And when I think back on all that she did for us in helping us to kind of find our voice and learn to sing and to sing together as a choir, she's one of those teachers that went beyond what was required and offered lessons and things to individuals to help them grow as individual singers, was involved in the musicals and then making us into one of the best choirs in the state. So she's one of the teachers that gave me something that I now can use in life. I'm continue to sing now and really enjoy that.
One of them is Donna Swenson, and Donna Swenson was our art instructor. And along with many other teachers, she really gave me the passion to think about the world beyond the limits of sort of just book learning, if you want. And she taught me to really inspire myself to look at the world in a little different way. So she gave me the ability and the confidence to think it's okay to think of the world as an art student for a while and not be scared that that's not a real job, and understand that creativity can lead to other critical thinking and give me the confidence and the ability to think about, well, if I don't want to be an art major, maybe I want to be an art history major, and art history turned into political science, and political science turned into a job working in a nonprofit helping people around the world. So that path just led to many different things, and it all started with Donna.
Embrace Mount Vernon, come back here to live. This is it. This is the best town you can live in, the best school system. Don't go away, go to school if you want to, but come back to Mount Vernon. Doesn't get any better than this.